Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Happy Monday. We have Erica, Amber, and Tony here with us with the Injury Prevention Department from Driscoll Children's Hospital. They'll be discussing home safety, car safety, and alcohol safety for teens. Also, if you are watching live, I will be taking attendance who are here present and adding that into Optima for everyone to receive their continuing education credit. If you are watching the recording, you're going to want to send us an email either to jaylene.garza@brushcountrycasa.org or just let one of us here know that you attended or watched the training, and then we'll make sure that you get that credit. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you if you want to go ahead and get started.
Great. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. On a personal note, I just want to thank you for all you do. I was a foster parent and I adopted my children through foster care, and our CASA was just the best person possible who advocated for our kids. And so I know what y'all see, what y'all hear is really difficult at times. So I just want to personally thank you guys for what you do. I'm Amber Straley. I am the injury prevention supervisor here at Driscoll. Over here to my left is Erica Garbe Hernandez. She is the injury prevention specialist. And to my right is Tony Goodman. He is the injury prevention community representative. So we're going to be talking to you today. I'm going to start off talking about car seats. So the state law in Texas is until age 8, unless 4'9" or taller, a child needs to be restrained in some sort of car seat, booster seat, something like that, according to the manufacturer's instructions. So what that can mean is a lot of parents want to forward face at 1 year old or earlier. Some car seats actually require you to rear face until age 2. Even Flow brand is one that they all require until age 2 to rear face. So if a child's forward facing in a seat that says until age 2, technically they're breaking the law. So we always recommend using a car seat as long as possible. And often, even though age 8 is the law, often 10 to 12-year-olds still need to be in a booster seat. 3 out of 4 children are not properly secured. And here in our area, it's more like 9 out of 10. Sometimes I'd even say 10 out of 10. We have seen very few car seats that have come in that have been installed properly and the child secured to the seat properly. So why do you use a car seat? They protect the head, neck, and spine in a crash, and that's when rear facing. They spread crash forces over a larger part of the body, and they hold a child at the shoulder and the hips, which are the strongest parts of the body. So we want parents and caregivers to choose car seats and booster seats based on the child's age, weight, height, and developmental level. Developmental level is something that a lot of people don't think about. A lot of people think, oh, my child's 4 or my child's 5. The sticker on the booster seat says I can move them to a booster seat. Well, I can tell you right now, my 5, almost 6-year-old, he's not even close to developmentally ready to move into his booster seat. So he'll be harnessed for a lot longer. Other things to consider is the fit of the car seat or the booster seat into the vehicle. We actually have somebody coming in that they purchased a new vehicle and the headrests of the vehicle aren't compatible with their car seat. So we're trying to help them figure out what to do. And then the ability of the caregiver to use the car seat correctly all the time. If the caregiver is not going to use it correctly, then it's not going to be safe for the child. So AAP is the American Academy of Pediatrics. We're a children's hospital, so we go by what they recommend. So their recommendations are infants and toddlers need to ride in a rear-facing car seat as long as possible. Most convertible car seats go to 40 pounds, sometimes 50 pounds. 40 pounds is the average 4-year-old. So you can typically get your child to 3, 4, maybe even 5 years old, depending on how big or small they are, rear facing. And that's the safest. And we'll have a video in just a minute that will show you the difference between the two. Once they've outgrown rear facing, they need to go into a forward facing harnessed seats. And most of those go up to 65 pounds. After that, they move into the booster seat, and we want them in the booster seat until 4'9" or taller. We want the seat belt to fit them properly, and I'll show you a slide on how to tell if it fits properly in just a minute. And then any child under the age of 13 needs to be in the back seat. So I'm just going to flip through these next couple of slides. In our longer presentations, we go into a lot more detail about these, but these are the different types of car seats. So I'm sure everybody here has seen an infant car seat. A lot of times we see people carrying them around in restaurants or grocery stores. One of the things I wanted to point out with the infant seat is these are not a safe sleep place for children to sleep. They should never be left in the house when you take them inside their sleep. Never put them on the floor and let them sleep. Take them out, put them on in their crib alone, nothing in the crib, on a flat surface. Convertible seats, these are seats that go rear facing and forward facing. They start often at 4 to 5 pounds and go up to 40 to 50 pounds depending on the car seat. So we actually have a program here in our office where we provide low-income families with free car seats, and we give them a convertible car seat for a newborn baby because it starts at 5 pounds. Most newborns are a little bit bigger than that, and so it's perfectly safe for them to go home in a convertible seat, but it's going to last them a lot longer than the infant seat, which is typically outgrown at about a year. Here is a video. I'm going to see if it will play. Somebody let me know if it's playing on your end. So on the left, if y'all can't see that moving, let me know. That is a rear-facing car seat. You'll notice it pushes down into the vehicle seat as it leans backward, and then it begins rotating forward. You don't see much movement of the child's head in that. You can hardly see it at all. And here is the same child forward facing. And notice how much the head and the neck move in that forward facing collision. Now, both of those car seats, it's the same car seat, and one's installed rear, one's forward facing. The child is the same, and it's one that could be either forward facing or rear facing. So as you can see there, all the neck excursion, we want to avoid that. So it's so much safer to rear face. The next types of car seat is a combination seat. That's just one that forward faces and then turns into a booster seat. And then a booster seat. I'm sure you guys are familiar with booster seats. The booster seat's main job is to raise a child up so that the seatbelt fits them properly. It's essentially a glorified phone book. And then the final seat is an all-in-one. This one starts out rear facing, goes forward facing, and turns into a booster. Some of them even the backs come off and they become a backless booster. Did someone have a question? Okay. So this slide right here, if you want to take a screenshot of it, this is when a child can safely ride without a booster step. We call this the 5-step test. We want them to be able to sit with their back against the vehicle seat, their knees bending over the edge, the lap belt low on the tops of the thighs, the shoulder belt between the neck and the shoulder, right where a tank top would sit. And they have to be able to sit properly the entire time. That's the maturity part of it. Most kids are 10 to 12 years old before they pass that. My 7-year-old has started asking me when she can go without a booster, and I'm like, honey, with what I do, you're gonna be 15. So some things to remember. Whenever your child is rear facing, we want the shoulder straps to be at or below. So that top picture right there shows the shoulder level with the dotted line. The below is blue and above is red. So you want those straps to kind of loop over the shoulder and go down below the shoulder. And what that does in a crash is it keeps the child down into the seat where they're not able to ride up in the seat. Any movement within the car seat can mean injury. Forward facing, they want it the exact opposite. They want it above the shoulder instead of below. This is one of the most common things we see. We see harnesses that are too loose. So you want to do what we call the pinch test. And right at the child's shoulders, you try to pinch just like you can see in the picture. And you do not want to be able to grab any of that webbing. Non-approved items. These are so cute. I love the dinosaurs and the flowers and all that, but they are not crash tested with the vehicle, or I'm sorry, with the car seat. So if you see one and it says crash tested, it does not mean it's been crash tested according to the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards. There is not one car seat manufacturer that allows for the aftermarket non-approved items to be added to their car seat. So they should only be using what came with the car seat itself. The chest clip is the one that you see right there in the picture. We see it often down by the child's belly button. It needs to be up right on the sternum, right at armpit level. And what the chest clip's job is to keep the straps up on the child's shoulders. If it goes down, it can allow the straps to slide off the shoulders, which can mean the child can become ejected from the car. When rear facing, you're going to want to adjust your recline. So there's different recline indicators. And in a normal presentation, we would spend an hour, hour and a half talking about car seats. And I'm going through this super fast in about 15 minutes is my goal. And so if y'all have questions on car seats, if you want to come into our office, I would love to bring you in, show you how to do installations and things like that. So this is a recline indicator. This shows if it's properly reclined. And then before we move on to questions, I'm going to stop sharing for just a second so that y'all are able to see my screen a little bigger. And I'm going to move over here, see if Tony can help me with this. And we're going to look at this car seat. Let me see if I can see it. There we go. Okay, so when I was talking about the pinch test, right here at the shoulders, if you're able to pinch and grasp it between your fingers, that's too loose. You'll want to pull on the adjuster strap to tighten it. Bring the chest clip to armpit level, and then try to pinch. Two other common mistakes we see when forward facing, there is a thing called the top tether, and it's supposed to be routed typically through the headrest. And then on some vehicles, it's on the back of the seat, some it's on the floor, some it's up in the roof. You want to make sure that that top tether is attached and pulled snug. And then a common installation error we see with a lot of different car seats is you have your seat belt through the correct belt path, but it's unlocked. You're able to move it, which means the car seat is going to move. So what you want to do is you want to lock this seat belt by pulling out all the way. You'll hear a click and it will make a ratchet sound as it goes back in. Now, I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear that on this one because it's real quiet. There's a slight ratchet sound. So you want to make sure you always lock that seat belt so that you can't pull it out. And then you tighten the car seat. So that is all for car seats in this very, very quick presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, ma'am. This is Brenda. I have one question. I have
Yes, ma'am.
two. On the car for the toddler booster seat that you were talking about, if they're not from the ages like normal 10 to 12, or you said like those descriptions, you said that their legs are hanging over or the seatbelt's meeting it at their chest, is there a weight that at that weight you can say, okay, they no longer need a booster, or is it just those descriptions?
It's mostly the height, but also the weight does come into effect. If they're the 4'9" and they're only 60 pounds or something, they'd probably still benefit from the booster seat. We typically see though that they're around 100 pounds when they hit that 4'9". Now, obviously that it just depends on the child.
Okay, and then another question I had was on like the infant car seats, those pillow, that image you showed with like the pillows,
Uh-huh.
and you said that those are not recommended. What is
Correct.
recommended? So, because those babies outgrow those pillow things pretty quickly. Once they outgrow them, what can be used to prevent their head from going side to side or forward?
So you can only use what came with the car seat. And then some car seats, you have to check the user manual. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any that don't allow it, but most of them allow you to take a thin receiving blanket and roll it up real tight and put it on either side. Now you want to make sure if you do that, you're not putting it above their ears where they can turn and put their face into it. You want it down lower where if they turn, their face isn't in it, so they're not able to smother themselves. Great question.
We have one more question in the chat. What is the age for a child to sit in the front seat? Did you mention 13?
Yeah, car manufacturers have the label above the passenger sun visor. Thank you. I'm like, what is that called? The sun visor that says age 13 or above. And that's basically for the airbags. The airbags are built for adults. The average 105-pound woman, and I believe it's 125-pound man, is what they were built for. So you want them to be a little bit bigger and the bone structure to be a little further developed.
So that makes me have another question. So I've looked in my car and I don't know if it's changed. It doesn't have an age. It just tells me like if they're tall enough for a certain, pretty much like what you described for the back, like in the front. Do you know what the law is on how old they have to be? Or is it 13 or is that the recommended?
That's the recommended. Because in fact, we've had situations where we have 4 kids in a 5-seater car, the driver plus 4 others, and we've had to put a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old in a 5-point harness in the front seat. It's the absolute last thing we want to do, but they have to have some place to sit, Okay, so we are going to move on. I'm going to share the screen again. And Tony is going to get started, if it will work. There we go.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Tony Goodman. I'm with Driscoll Children's Hospital Injury Prevention. I'm a community representative. I'm going to speak briefly on pediatric vehicular heat stroke. And as defined by the Centers for Disease Control, pediatric vehicular heat stroke happens when a child's body overheats in a hot car and is unable to cool down. Heat stroke can cause permanent disability or death. A little known fact is children's bodies heat up 3 to 5 times faster than adults do. And you'd be surprised how fast the inside of a car heats up, even if the windows are cracked. So I'm going to show you a quick video on that. You can see how fast the inside of a car can heat up. It's a lot faster than any of us think. So why do pediatric vehicular heat stroke deaths happen? There's 3 main reasons. Obviously, there's some smaller reasons, but the main ones are the child is being forgotten in the vehicle 52% of the time. Often when there's a change in the normal routine, normally most parents go through a normal routine every morning. If they're going to do something different, they're not going to daycare that day, they're going to HEB or Walmart instead, then 52% of the time, that's how it happens. Second highest is the child getting into the vehicle on their own without a caregiver knowing. So that's 24% of the time. Now, most of the time, this is going to be at your home, in the garage, your car's out on the driveway in the sun, and you don't lock it, and the child disappears into the car. The last is the child knowingly was left in the vehicle. That's 21% of the time. So how often do these deaths happen? This year to date, 4 children have died in vehicular heat stroke in the United States. There have been 0 reported cases in Texas so far.
And that's abnormal.
And yes, that is very abnormal. A lot goes out to the Texas Heat Stroke Task Force. They've been very instrumental in putting a lot of ads out and trying to educate the public on that. Last year in 2023, 29 children died due to pediatric vehicular heat stroke in the United States, including 4 in Texas. 1 was in Midland, 2 in Houston, and 1 in Richmond, Texas. An average of 37 children die from vehicular heat stroke each year in the United States, and there have been 973 child deaths from vehicular heat stroke since 1998. So how do you prevent vehicular heat stroke? Use the ACT. There's simple actions. The first one, A, is to avoid heat stroke related injury by never, ever leaving your child alone in a car, not even for a quick trip into the store. You always lock your car doors and your trunks at your home, in your driveway or your garage. If a child is missing, check the pool and the water sources first, then check your vehicles, including the trunks. C is for create reminders. Keep a stuffed animal or other memento in the child's seat when it's empty and move it to the front seat as a visual reminder when your child is back in the seat. Or place and secure your phone, briefcase, or purse in the back seat while traveling with your child. Now, a lot of cars these days, the newer ones, they have reminders that will actually voice to say, check in the back seat to remind you if there's a child back there. 3 is T for take action. If you see a child alone in a car, take action and call 911. Do not hesitate. Is there any questions about pediatric vehicular heat stroke?
I do have one, and that's probably gonna sound stupid, but so I know is there a law that says like you can't break the window if you see like a child being unattended in a hot car? Just because I know in some states they say like if you see a dog, they've passed a law, you can break the window. I know that's why I said I know it's a stupid question because I would break it no matter what, but just to be sure.
Yeah, I don't know of any law that says that. Obviously, I think you would be covered by what's called the Good Samaritan law. So you're acting in defense of that child. So the Good Samaritan Act would cover you as far as that goes.
They say to call 911 or have someone call 911 and let them know there's a child in distress in a vehicle and breaking the window. And obviously you'll break the window furthest away from the child to get in.
We also have some, if you can see this, it's a reminder, it's a voice reminder that comes with cars that aren't equipped with it. We give them out to families that will it will voice when you open your front door, it will say, please check the rear seat for your child. So we have these available also. Any other questions?
All righty, so I'm going to pass it on over to Erica, and she is going to finish out our presentation.
Hello, my name is Erica Garibay Hernandez with Injury Prevention. I am going to talk a little bit about distracted driving. Push the arrow. Okay. So according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Distracted driving is any activity that diverts attention away from driving, including talking, texting on your phone, eating, drinking, talking to people, messing with the radio, anything like that. Basically anything that takes your attention away from the road is considered distracted driving. So we're going to talk about the top 10 reasons why or how people drive distracted. So, and these are not in any particular order, but talking or texting on your cell phone, whether you're making a call, sending a text message, anything like that, not only are you jeopardizing your life, but the life of the people in your vehicle, but anybody on the road, anybody in vehicles, pedestrians, anyone, you're putting their lives at risk. So sending a quick 5-second text message while going 55 miles an hour is like driving the length of a football field with your eyes closed. So very dangerous. Okay. So GPS, using your GPS, I know that a lot of people use that for convenience, but it's always important to set your route before you leave your home. If you have to make adjustments to it, pull over to the side of the road, find somewhere safe to park in a parking lot, just away from traffic, make any adjustments you have to. If you're doing that while you're driving, that's just a huge distraction to you. And we don't want to do that. Passengers, so people in the vehicle with you, they you know, talk to you, you're having conversations, you're doing all of that with your passenger next to you. They can be a distraction, just like this guy in this video. Children and pets, so your pets could be a distraction. They're trying to look out the window, they're hopping from the back seat to the front seat. Your children, they're crying in the back seat, asking for snacks, stuff like that. They can be distractions as well. Adjusting the radio or your climate control, those can be distractions. Try to make those adjustments when you're stopped at a red light, pull over to the side of the road, make those adjustments before you leave your home. Anything like that, just not while you're driving. Smoking or vaping can also be a distraction. Not only are they bad for your health, but they can be a distraction while you're driving. You're smoking, there's smoke in the air, you're looking for a lighter, you drop something, you know, those can always be a distraction. So we don't want to do that while we're driving. Eating and drinking, while it seems like it's something that you can just do passively while you're driving, it's always something that you want to make sure that you do when you get where you're going or before you get on the road. You don't ever want to eat or drink while you're driving. Daydreaming, it's easy to get in your car, start thinking about your day, think about the things that you're still needing to do when you get home, thinking about stuff that you've encountered throughout your day. But daydreaming is very dangerous. You can you know, make errors and not see people on the road. And we always want to make sure that we have our full attention to driving when we are doing so. Grooming and makeup. A lot of people, I know I've seen people putting makeup on or fixing their hair or making adjustments when they're driving, but you always want to do that before you leave the house or whenever you get where you're going. Emotions, that's a big one. If you're having a bad day or if you found out some really good news or even sad news, you know, try and take all that in before you drive, before you get behind the wheel. If you're upset, that could factor into the way that you're driving, and you certainly don't want to be, you know, upset driving, speeding, anything like that. So give yourself a timeout, park in a you know, a parking lot, or, you know, stay at home for a little while. Let yourself process those emotions before you get behind the wheel. So what can you do besides just drive distracted? You can give yourself your full attention to driving. When you receive a call, you can exit the road, come to a complete stop before taking the call or texting. There's a lot of different apps and settings on your phones that you can set that when you receive a call, it can go straight to voicemail, or it could send out an automatic text to say that you're driving and that you're not able to answer. Or you can tell your friends, hey, if you know I'm going somewhere, I'm not going to answer the phone, and encourage them not to do so either. And so we just don't want you to be the reason why someone loses their family member. Accidents caused by distracted driving are 100% preventable. So we always want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to drive free of distractions. Any questions? Yeah. Okay. So I will move on. Oh, go ahead.
I have a question. It's Ashley with Casa. So out of all of those distractions, is the cell phone still the number? Is there a statistic on that, or?
When I was going through a whole bunch of different websites, through NHTSA, through all of them, and I didn't find which one was the leading cause. They were all pretty much across the board. They were all, I guess, in the same category of I guess, severity.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, but it's about the car seat. So I'll just give everyone an opportunity for this section before I ask it.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, what's your car seat question?
My car seat question is, I know you had mentioned that Driscoll Children's Hospital has a program where they offer free car seats. If someone is interested in that, where do they go? How do they get that? And what do they need to qualify?
So they need to be considered a low-income family. So if they receive Medicaid, WIC, anything like that, they would qualify. They would call our office, and our phone number is 361-694-6700. I'll put that in the chat at the end, and I believe we also have a slide at the end that has our number on it. One thing with foster kids, it's kind of a gray area. So as a former foster parent, I know typically foster parents are given a stipend from the state. Our car seats are purchased with money from the state. So if the foster parent has already received funds from the state, then they're not eligible to get a car seat from us because it's kind of double dipping. Now, if it's a very first time foster family, they've never had a placement before, they've never received funds, then yes, they could get one. The child does have to be with them in order to receive it. And if the child were to leave their home, the car seat needs to go with the child. It's the child's seat, not the parent's seat.
Another question.
Okay.
I
can see your brain thinking.
Yeah. So you had mentioned the child would need to go with them to get the car seat. What if they don't have a car seat to take the child to get the car seat?
We ask them to borrow one.
Okay.
Yeah. And if they're in, we have a TxDOT grant, like I said, and it funds our car seat program. And we have Tony and then one other employee that we're looking to hire soon. That their job is to go out into different counties and do car seat checkup events, distribute car seats, things like that. So if it's, somebody who doesn't have a car seat or can't get to us easily, we could possibly schedule a time to go out to Kingsville or Alice or wherever and do an event out there. We were just out in Kingsville, I think in March, and we're planning to go back in September again. So we do travel around. We've got 10 different counties that we assist.
So someone who is like a previous foster child, no longer a foster child, could still qualify, wouldn't run into the
Yes.
same issue.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I'm gonna move on to keeping kids safe at home. I just went through a few topics for home safety. These are by no means all of the topics I could talk on. There's about 50 more, but I just chose a few. So medicine safety. Keep all medication, whether it's prescribed or over the counter, out of reach and sight of children. If you leave your children, or if you leave a child who takes medications with another caregiver, always leave written instructions that are easily understandable to the caregiver on how much medication to administer and how often. Also leave like a checklist. So if they take the medication multiple times a day, leave like a checklist of when it was given, so you're not double giving medication. Water safety. Never leave a child unattended when they are in or around water, whether it's the bathtub, whether it's playing outside in water. Never leave a child unattended around water. Always watch them, and always keep younger children within arm's reach while they're around the water. When you're bathing children, always make sure to check the temperature of the water before bathing. Safe sleep. So in the bedroom, follow the ABCs of safe sleep. Babies should sleep in the same room, but on a separate surface. Babies should sleep on their back. This is the safest position and decreases the risk for SIDS. They should sleep in a crib or a flat, firm surface with a tight fitted sheet. And the area should be free of blankets, pillows, or any kind of toys. Preventing falls. So if you have stairs, you should have a safety gate at the top and the bottom of the stairs, just to prevent them from climbing up or down. Make sure that it works, that the locks on there fully engaged, so that they don't, when they tug on them, they don't pop open. Then like in the living room or in bedrooms, anything like that. So if you have any kind of furniture that's top heavy, dressers, shelves, desks, anything like that, make sure that those are mounted, and that you use either brackets, braces, wall straps, anything like that, to make sure that those furniture, that they don't tip over. Button batteries. Make sure you know what in your home takes those button batteries and that they are securely installed. Make sure you know where any button batteries are, that they're stored properly and not accessible to children, and that once you're done using them, that you dispose of them properly. Button batteries are very dangerous, and if they're swallowed, they could be fatal.
And if you do have a child that swallows a button battery, give them honey on your way to the emergency department.
Any questions on home safety?
We don't have questions on home safety, but we do have another car seat question.
Okay.
So when they assist and help families with ensuring everything is set up correctly, do you have to make an appointment, or is a walk-in, or do you accept walk-in?
We accept walk-ins, but we prefer not to, because there are often times like this where we're doing a presentation, we're out in the community doing things, we're over at the hospital doing hospital rounds. So they may come to our office, knock on the door, and nobody's there. So we do 95 to 98% of our stuff is scheduled. Occasionally we'll have somebody walk in. I had somebody walk in this week and, could you please help me real quick? And we were available, so we helped her. But yes, we would prefer appointments, especially if you're driving in from Kingsville or somewhere.
Where's your office located?
We are not at the hospital. We're about a mile away from the main Driscoll campus on South Staples. Our address is 3643 South Staples.
And aside from car seats, do y'all have any other resources that y'all offer?
We do the car seats. We have our hot car devices. We have helmets. We do all-purpose helmets. So we do bike safety, skateboard safety, things like that. It can be used for any of those. We do have puddle jumpers that we give out, as well as infant life jackets. What else do we give out? We do have home safety kits that have the covers for the doorknobs, the plugs, and the cabinet locks.
We have one more question. For the water temperature when bathing a child, back in the old days, we would be told to use our elbow to help check the temperature of the water before putting the child in. What do you, or what would be your best suggestion regarding temperature?
When I was researching it, it said your elbow or your wrist to use to check the temperature, and if it's safe for you, then it would be safe for the baby.
Thank you.
I hadn't heard the elbow. That's good to know. Okay. Any other questions? I know that was a lot of information in a short amount of time.
I think that's all of our questions. Is there anything else that you all would like to share with us? Or did we cover it all?
I think we hit everything that we had on our agenda. I mean, I could talk about car seats for 3.5 days. I teach a class, actually. If any of you guys would want to become a certified child passenger safety technician, you can reach out to me. We do teach the class at minimum twice a year. We'll have another one probably September, October, and it's a 3.5 day national certification. You learn everything you want to know about car seats and then some. Everybody always says 3.5 days for car seats. That's such a long time. But at the end, everybody's like, man, I wish it was 5 days, because it's so much information. We learn everything from how the airbag works, crash dynamics, seatbelt systems. You'd be surprised how many different types of seatbelts and latch plates and things there are. And then we move on day 2 is when we actually start talking about car seats. So the first full day, 8 to 5, is all about the vehicle and seatbelts and stuff like that. So if anybody's interested in becoming a child passenger safety technician, just reach out to me. I'd love to have you join our crew.
And you were going to share your information in our chat. Are you able to do that?
Yes, I can do that.
And while you're doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of close up just a little bit. I want to thank everyone again for being here. If you are here, I did take your name down, and I'll be adding your information into Optima so that you can make sure to get credit for your continuing education. If you are watching the recording, you're going to want to email jaylene.garza@brushcountrycasa.org to let her know that you did watch the recording. Or when we post it on our volunteer Facebook page, just go ahead and put a comment there, and we'll be sure to give you that credit. We want to thank you, Erica, Amber, and Tony, for being here and sharing this information with us. And then lastly, we just hope that everyone has a safe 4th of July holiday and enjoys the rest of your week. So thank y'all so much for being here. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.